Hi, welcome back. We are talking about the new Jones Road What the Foundation today. This is Bobbi Brown's latest product launch in her new makeup line, Jones Road. It has been out for nearly 2 years, I want to say. If you missed my initial Jones Road product review, I will link it down below. Again, it had to have been over a year and a half ago. And since then, she's probably come out with like 4 to 5 new products that probably aren't going to be in that video, but it'll give you a general sense of my initial reaction and review of the staple and first core products. So this foundation has been a very hot topic. As soon as I got the email that this was, gonna be going on sale, I pretty much set a reminder on my phone and I knew I wanted to try it out because honestly, it looked like a product that I would really be interested in. And I'm glad I placed my order when I did because it has since kind of blown up. It's definitely the hot talk of the beauty community right now. I've been wearing this for 4 days, which is a shorter period. Normally I give a full week wear time to develop an opinion, but I feel like I have a pretty good opinion on it. I felt like the first day I used it, I had a pretty good opinion on how I was going to like it, but I've worn it differently each of the 4 days that I have been testing it out. Obviously, we're gonna get into that later, but let's talk about formula, the shades. This is what you're going to expect. It is a jar foundation. It is available in 12, I'm going to say flexible, although I do have some critiques on the shades that are available. For example, I actually am holding the lightest shade that you can purchase. It is called Porcelain, and the way that these shades were designed is basically, I think she built them off of the face pencils, which is one of the few products I actually have not tried yet. I just wasn't really into it, never picked it up, so I didn't have a face pencil shade. But if you have tried her face pencils, Porcelain is supposed to correspond if you are shades 1, 2, or 3. I have already talked about this and I've done a little application demo on TikTok, and the biggest complaint that I was getting in the comments from people were along the lines of, okay, if that's the lightest shade, it's definitely not going to work for me. And I do have to agree because I'm actually a little bit more tan than what I am or what I was just a month ago. I've been outside a lot. I've been playing with my son outside, and it has just been hot where I live. So I am now officially kind of shifting into that light to light medium category, and this is a perfect match for me. Like, I was very surprised at how closely it matches my skin tone right now. So if you are lighter than me, I can't really say how this is gonna show up. I know in a video, Bobbi talks about how it's supposed to be flexible because, it's not like a super pigmented foundation, but it's also not completely sheer. So in those circumstances, generally formulas like that can be a little bit more flexible in regards to shade matching, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say that these shades do run slightly dark, and each color is supposed to match up with at least 3 different shade ranges in the face pencils. So, proceed with caution when choosing your shade. I do think that maybe if you mixed the Porcelain shade with a little bit of your moisturizer to get some of that pigment diluted, it might match you better. And I'm kind of just speaking to those of you who may have already purchased this and discovered it was too dark for you. But that's something that you could try to kind of dilute that pigment down and make it appear a little bit lighter. So now that the shades are out of the way, I want to start off with formula because this is a very interesting formula. When you touch it, you're going to notice it's a pretty thick texture, but it's thick in the sense of like a thick, luxurious moisturizer. That's how I would describe this. It literally feels like you're putting moisturizer on your skin. And I was really shocked to discover that this does have a decent amount of coverage. The description states that this is a light to medium coverage, and I would say that that is totally accurate. That is what I have found that I get probably at its maximum coverage. You could definitely do lighter, but light to medium is a perfect description. Still keeping with the formula category, I want to talk a little bit about how this feels on the skin, the texture of it. You're definitely going to notice that this has I would describe it as a tacky feeling. And every time I have worn this, I have had to set it with something, or it just simply is a little bit too tacky for my preference. You're also going to notice that it is extremely dewy. I don't mind that. I love that look for summertime, but I do want to tone it down a little bit. And so I've had to set it with some sort of powder to give a little bit more of a cohesive vibe, a little bit less. It's very dewy. It's almost borderline wet looking, especially if you decide to build it up and layer it. I can see where this texture could be off-putting if you are combination oily and you like something that has a more matte finish to it, or if you just in general don't like your foundations or base products to have any type of texture feel, any type of wet feel, or tacky. I mean, essentially that's how I would describe it. Do I necessarily think that's a bad thing? No, because honestly, it sits totally fine on my skin. I don't like walking around all day because my hair's getting longer. RIP the lob. Like, I totally miss my short hair because I have to deal with this, like getting in my lip gloss, getting on my face. And so if I have a product like this on, I definitely cannot have the tackiness, or just, it's just stuff gets stuck in it. So talking about this unique texture, I want to move into application. I'm going to be pretty straightforward on application. I do not like applying this any other way than with my hands. It's as simple as that. Every single day that I've worn it 2 days with my hands. One day I did a brush, and yesterday I used a beauty blender, and really did not enjoy the way it applied with the beauty blender or a brush. The brush wasn't really bothersome, but I felt like it didn't apply it to its full potential. I really feel like you need some warmth happening, and the way that they recommend applying this is with your hands, and I would totally agree with that. It is 100% hands down a finger application product. I mean, you might like applying it with a brush, but I truly feel to receive its best potential, hands are the way to go. So let's glide into how this looked on me, how overall I felt it looked on my skin, what my thoughts were. The first day I applied this, I actually did, again, I mentioned I did a wear test on TikTok. Not really a wear test, but an application demo. And that was my favorite day wearing it, the first day, which is so funny because I just reviewed Bare Minerals' new powder, and the first day I wore it, it was my least favorite day. So it just shows you, that's why I try to give new product launches a few days to test them out and just see how they could change, just see what I can do better to make them look better on my skin. So the first day I applied this, I used my hands, literally nothing underneath it but my moisturizer and SPF, and I thought it looked awesome. Very futuristic, just healthy, fresh looking face. I mean, your skin but better is truly the best way to describe it. Now, moving into what I noticed with the texture, I immediately was like, okay, this is pretty, but I'm gonna have to tone it down. It was a little bit too editorial, like over the top, glowy, wet looking on my skin. So I will say I have to apply a significant amount of powder to get this to kind of the way I have it today. It's not anything like the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin where it eats up the powder. That's what I experienced with that foundation. Like, no matter how much I put on, it was just like eating up the powder. I just feel like this has such a heavy sheen to it that I need to powder a little bit more than usual. Now, let's talk about the other few days that I have been wearing this and testing it in different ways. The second day I wore this, I decided let's try a primer with it and layering some concealer on top. So I used my Armani Luminous Silk Primer and a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape, which I actually have some Tarte Shape Tape on today just because I wanted to give it another shot. But I will be totally honest, I think this product performs best with minimal products, with, shall I say, just the Jones Road accompanying products. It applied horribly with the primer that I used, and it could just be the Luminous Silk Primer. Maybe you have one that might perform better with it, but I just felt like there was something about it that applied it in like a streaky way. I was still using my hands, but something really messed with the formula of this, and I was like, okay, never again. It looked totally fine with just moisturizer. We're not effing with primer anymore with this. Kind of same thing goes for concealer. And I realize I talk about this in like my texture series, where you really need to pair products up that have the same level of coverage. So for example, this is a light to medium coverage. In my opinion, the best type of concealer that's gonna wear with it is a concealer that has a sheer light or light medium coverage, nothing exceeding that. But so I broke my own rule for some reason, just because I've been trying to use up my Tarte Shape Tape. I put Tarte Shape Tape on. No, absolutely not. It did not vibe, threw the vibe off. And again, don't know why I tried it again today. So I would definitely recommend using a concealer that corresponds with the coverage of the foundation. Like I said, loved it the day that I wore nothing underneath it and then just applied my Jones Road Miracle Balm, the lip and cheek stain, and then the mascara. I thought it looked phenomenal. Beauty blender, absolute no-go. I don't think it is designed to be manipulated with any type of water or dampness. It was just so patchy, uneven. I actually didn't even finish up the rest of my face with the blender because it just was not cohesive. It did not work. So overall, using my hands, no fuss underneath, no primer, no heavy emollient moisturizers, just lightweight SPF and moisturizer. And then, you know, a good sheer cream bronzer, sheer cream blush on top. Looks fabulous. Now, let's move into longevity. I think, personally, my opinion on this, I've seen some people disagree about this, but one of my favorite things about this has been the longevity. And it's not in the sense that it lasts all day and it looks the same as when I apply it in the morning. It is probably one of the most gracefully fading foundation products that I own. So at the end of the day, sure, it has faded somewhat around my jawline. I think I have a clip to insert here of an 8-hour wear test. You know, it definitely does fade in certain areas, but it looks so, you can't see it. Like, you can't see where it's faded. And not only that, at the end of the day, I really like the way my face feels. It's almost like it's moisturized or hydrated my skin throughout the day. So that is something I really was not expecting from this. It's not something I was expecting because I don't find that, I mean, I can't think of any foundation really that by the end of the day, my skin feels better or feels like a little bit more hydrated. I really feel that this foundation does that. I also did an 8-hour wear test on my TikTok, an update, and I thought for sure, I did not look at my face before I did it. I thought for sure it was going to look like garbage because my son had literally clawed my face all day. My dog came up out of nowhere and just licked me on the side of the cheek. And I thought, okay, this is going to look horrible, but we're going to try it anyways. No, I mean, the only thing that I noticed in that 8-hour TikTok video was that Max had like grabbed my forehead and there was a little line along my forehead where he had just kid shit, you know, like just scratch the face, and I did notice that. But the rest of my face, I felt looked, I mean, it was like a no makeup vibe. Like, still looked fresh, nice, not overdone, nothing melting off my skin. Very pleased, very, very pleased with how this wears throughout the day. Like I said, I do powder it. So don't go thinking like if you just throw it on and don't put something on over it, that it's gonna be that well maintained, I guess. So do with that what you will. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that you can purchase a spatula to scoop this foundation out with, because I know there are some of you that this type of packaging you don't vibe with, you don't get down with. So they do provide, well, you have to buy it separately. It's like $7, a spatula where you can scoop the product out. Oh yeah, this is something I wanted to touch on, fragrance. This does have a smell. It smells like, I want to say one of my Elemis products. It's very herbal, natural plant style of scent. It smells identical to something I've owned, and I cannot put my finger on it. But I will say, I smell it upon first application and then it goes away. Like, it does not faze me throughout the day. I don't smell it at all. I feel like it's truly just fresh out of the jar here. You will notice a little bit of a scent to it. I don't know if that's an added fragrance. I feel like it's not, because I'm trying to go over the ingredients list here, and there are a lot of like fruit plant extracts, it seems. So I feel like it's probably just maybe the natural scent of it, because I don't see where, you know, fragrance is listed. But I also can't professionally read ingredients lists. So like, I see ginger root oil, and I would definitely agree that like a ginger scent could be what I'm smelling here. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's a plant herbal type of smell. So final thoughts. Who is this going to work for? Who is it not going to work for? What is my final conclusion on it? So let's talk about who I think this is going to benefit the most. People who have dry, dehydrated skin. It feels really good. It feels, like I said, very moisturizing. By the end of the day, I feel really hydrated. And when I've taken my makeup off, my face doesn't feel parched. So I think normal to dry group out there will be the target audience for this. I cannot see a world where someone with oily skin would enjoy this. I just have to be honest. Because essentially, after I have applied this, I look kind of oily myself, you know what I mean? So I just don't see this being something that would be a favorite if you do struggle with oily skin, especially if your skin breaks down your makeup throughout the day. I just can't say how this would really work for you. For some reason, with the mature skin family, I feel like it would be 50-50. I feel like half of the people would really enjoy it because it is so moisturizing and hydrating and lightweight. But then I could see another group just thinking like, it's just too much. Like, it's too much texture wise. And I think if you were careful in your application and you did like the standard to minimal application on it, it would probably be really pretty and youthful. But this definitely does build up. And I feel like if you build it up too much, it could potentially show lines a little bit more than like what your standard foundation would show, just because it is so rich and emollient. So it's hard for me to predict on that. But I feel like if there aren't already examples on mature skin, like there's gonna be very soon, because this is a hopping, talking product. Everybody's wanting to get their hands on it. So final thoughts. Personally, for me, I will continue to use this. Actually excited to kind of experiment with it a little bit more. I feel like there are different ways that it could be manipulated. However, I caution with what you put on underneath it, and also heavier coverage products that you pair with it, because I just don't think it's super compatible with that style of formula. But I want to know, I know a lot of you have already bought this. I know you have. So let me know how it has been performing for you. It seems like a lot of mixed reviews happening. It seems like it is different on every single person. So I want to know, if you've purchased it, what your experience has been like. So I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope gave you an idea on whether you want to purchase it or not. She's staying, and I really don't have a ton of complaints with her. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.